Thank you, Laura. And nice to see everyone. I'd like to start us off with a little bit of chanting and practice. And starting with the practice of refuge. And so starting with calling into your space, your practice space, your guides and benefactors, bringing them into your practice space right now. And I think there's, at least there was with me, in the beginning of my practice, way back when, this reticence or this doubt, doubt can be a positive, and doubt can be a detractor from practice. It can be a positive too. Doubt encourages us to investigate, right? And in the Abhidharma, which is this commentary on the Buddha's teachings, doubt is actually a neutral factor. Like some things like anger, is considered on the negative side, and love and compassion on the positive side. But doubt's a neutral factor because, of course, doubt can cause us to question everything, which is really good and really positive. It's what we do in science, right? Question everything. It's what we do as practitioners too. Question everything and then test and verify through in our own experience. But doubt can also impede our practice because it can get in the way of us trying on different ways of being, because we're doubtful that it's possible to try those things on. And one of those things is inviting our benefactors, and we can doubt, oh, is it really, are they really here? Are they really in the room with me? But of course, whatever you invite gets into the room with you, right? Whatever you bring becomes the reality. This is we build and create our own field of reality every day, every moment with our conceptual mind. So why not bring in the energy of support, right? The energy of support can be very present for us, very real. So seeing how much we can invite our childlike mind, the one that really opens to the possibility of the mystery, the possibility of the energies of awakening and compassion and care, and bringing those in to be with us here now. So let's do that. Let's bring those energies in to be here now. And as we're doing that, I'm going to light a candle. And if you have you have a shrine, or you want to do the same, to bring the illumination of the benefactor field. And I think when I'm lighting the candle too, of offering up the light to the benefactors in gratitude for their care and presence. There we go. And if you could bring up our refuge prayer, we'll chant the prayer of refuge. Thank you. Sanje chudan suchi chonan lam Zhang chu pardu dani cha su chi Daki Jinso Jipe Sonanji Rola Pencher Sanje Drupasho Sanje Chetan Sochi Chonama Changchu Bardu Dani Chapsuchi Dagi Jinso Jipe Sonanji Drola Penshir Sanje Drupal. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until enlightened by the power of generosity and the other perfections. May we realize Buddhahood for the benefit of all. Taking a moment to open to gallery view. We will look at the four immeasurables here in just a minute. We're going to open to gallery view and just to take in sangha. And even if we can't see pictures, because some of you are just on audio, no problem. We're taking in you too. You're also coming into the field, taking each other in, and engendering bodhicitta, and just actually, we may not even need the immeasurable prayers here, but starting with the first, which is just letting your gaze fall on one person here. You may know them, you may not know them. Except for you who's driving, you keep your eyes on the road. Yeah, all right. So just taking in someone's face here and just giving rise to this prayer, may you have happiness and the causes of happiness. May you have happiness and the causes of happiness. And letting your eyes again flow to another square, another person, precious being here. May you be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May you be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. And you may notice, or the awareness may be there too, that someone's wishing that for you. And just taking that in. Letting your eyes move to another face of someone here. May you have the joy beyond all sorrow. May you experience the joy beyond all sorrow. May you be free. And letting our eyes move again to another person here. May you experience the equanimity beyond friend, enemy, and stranger. May you experience the equanimity beyond friend, enemy, and stranger. Yeah. So may we all, thank you. All right. And now we can go back to our speaker view, or however you like to do your practice, however that is, or with gallery if you prefer. And you might want to turn your body a little bit away from the screen while we practice meditation. That's helpful. Let's begin by coming down from the thinking mind into the feeling body. Letting your attention come all the way down to the base of your body, where your seat meets the cushion or the chair. Noticing that down there at the base of your body, you are already grounded. grounded like the base of a great tree. Rooted to this great earth. Letting attention move from the base of your body into the hips, into the belly, noticing a sensation in the belly as you inhale and exhale. Following the flow of breath. this breath, only breath. Riding every out breath into this present moment. And now following the breath, this out breath into the vaster space of the here and now. Just here. Just now. Just this. So let's take 5 minutes to stand and stretch. So let's return in 5 minutes. You can take your own stretch break. So I'm going to move into the part of our gathering that is the, you could say, the Dharma talk. And then I'm going to open it up for those of you who are new to Dharma Sunday to hear from you and reflections or questions. And today I wanted to touch into the topic of radical presence as the fabric that holds together the practice of meditation and how it's possible to overlook that when we're cultivating a practice of meditation. We think we're we're so good at being human doings instead of human beings, that we make meditation into a project, into an activity, and but what it really is many ways and many doorways, many portals into presence. And if we're cultivating presence, then we're meditating. And if we're getting away from that presence, we are taking refuge in something else, And there's no problem with taking refuge in something else, but it's not exactly the cultivation of meditation, which is a cultivation of presence. And so the question is, what brings you present? And I think there's a difference between presence and so what brings you present? Yes. But there is a difference between presence and radical presence. Presence and radical presence. Presence is something that's sandwiched between what happened before and what will happen. Presence is a state of being in the now, a state that we might acknowledge is not then there. Then there is memory. Then there is the past. then there is history, and what's going to happen there in the future is what might come, what might be. And then between the two is this sense of the now. And that now, usually, we're still holding this idea that we are in between the past and the future. We're still in a bardo, so to speak. The bardo is this in between state. And often in Tibetan Buddhism, the bardo means the in between state between death and rebirth, right? The bardo. But we're in the bardo of the present between the past and the future. That's what I call just presence. We can access this presence, but it's still on a linear timeline. It's still on the linear timeline. But what we're cultivating in a practice of meditation, what we're cultivating is a relationship that is off to something off the linear timeline. And so we're exploring the possibility that there's a now that is always present. That this thing that we call the past, in one way, in one sense, in a relative sense, we can say there was history and things that happened. And there is so much we could learn from that. I was thinking back, when we look back on our own timeline and the narrative of this relative self, I remember being this child. I was just having this flashback to being in kindergarten and preschool, even preschool, when I was thinking about when I was going to talk about today, and how there was someone there in preschool who had a raincoat. And I remember there being, a lot of rain and fog in my Berkeley childhood. And I remember, waiting outside in the rain this one time for my mother to pick me up. And there was someone there. There's someone there, but it's not the body that I'm in now. That body is completely overhauled. Every 7 years, our body is a new body. Every 7 years, none of the cells are exactly the same, right? So there's the memory of that lives in me now. And so we could say that there was a history and a past that got us to where we are, but where is it right at this moment? There is no past, really, that we can show to another person. We can't say, come here, I'm going to show you that moment. There's this truth of impermanence, that it is over, and that what is now is now. It is alive. It's the one thing that really is. And so in one way there was a past, in one way there is no past. It is gone and over. And in one way you could say there will be a future. We trust, we believe, we think, but we don't really know there will be a future, and we don't know what that future is really like. It is a figment of our imagination in one way, right? So as we start to come more present, which is what meditation helps us with, we begin to inhabit the moment. of the life that we are actually living right now. Not the life we lived or the life we will live, but we are in the life that we are living. And that is the radical present. And what's extraordinary about the radical present, as we start to come home to it, as we start to return to it, really all these techniques of meditation, watching the breath and becoming intimate with the feelings in the body, are all ways of bringing us home to this. What's amazing when we come home to this is we discover it's always here. It is the one constant. The radical present is the constant. And we can come home to that radical present. In that radical present, there never was a past, and there never will be a future. Take that in, like let that sink in for a minute. There never was, and there never will be a future in one dimension of reality. That is so. In the dimension of the reality of the now. And there's something very empowering about that, very exciting, because it means you're being born every moment. You are reborn. And in that rebirth, anything is possible. Any future is possible in that rebirth. And so we're exploring in one way what we're doing in practice is exploring this relationship to the eternal now that is not on in linear time. It's really another time. It's another time. And it is a time I think we were closer to when we were in a more indigenous, ancient incarnation of our species at one time before the Industrial Revolution, before the invention of clocks, before we started breaking up our reality into days and weeks and years, and we've been labeling for a long time, but we've gotten more linear as time goes on and more regimented with our relationship with time, because we're not watching the sun anymore, right? We're not watching the moon phases to tell us where we are in time. We are watching these clocks, these watches, this ticking of that tells us when we're in relationship with it that there is a linear time. And what we're asking of ourselves in practice and meditation is to step out of linear time and into the eternal present, and to really develop relationship with the present. And to do that, we have to let go of the past and let go of the future. Now, I don't mean that they will not be there for us soon enough, right? Because they come back. They do come back, that past and that future. They come back and they re engage us, even if we're not engaging consciously the past and the future, right? We are narrative selves. I'm not saying we erase that, but we give ourselves a different place to live when we practice, a different place to dwell, a different home. And there's something quite beautiful about that home, because when we do come home to the radical present, we are not missing our life. We are inviting ourselves to really savor the richness of what is right here and right now, so we don't miss our life, so we don't miss the tastes and what comes through our senses, so we don't miss this beautiful gift of being conscious that we were given when we were born. There's a place of dwelling here in the now that is very rich and very nuanced, very textured, very beautiful, very constant, very expansive. So that's what we're exploring in practice, the radical presence. And I think it's possible to lose track of that, right? Oh, wait, no, my practice is I'm focusing on the breath. I'm focusing on the breath. I am being a disciplined practitioner. Oh, I'm focusing on the body. These are anchors. They're powerful anchors to the now, right? The breath anchors us to the present. The body anchors us to the present. But as we start to get more anchored, more grounded in the here and now, we can start to explore that this is a very vast field of the radical present. It is a very vast field. And we can explore the field of the present moment. We can become explorers of the radical present, just like we explore a subject, of study. We can begin to become explorers of the radical present. And when we slow way down, which is also what meditation helps us do, is slow the nervous system down, then we start to notice how rich a taste is, how rich a sound is. And we can engage in an exploration of that sound. We can go into it, just like an explorer would go into a cave, go into the sound and really find its nuances and its beauties. Um, and that's a way of practicing, called it's mindfulness. It's mindfulness, sensory mindfulness, right? Yeah. So I just I just wanted to bring that into the field this morning in our Dharma Sunday, and it just leave you with the question, or maybe spark the question: what brings me present? What brings you present? What brings you into a deeper relationship with the here and now? And then once you're in the here and now, what do you savor? What do you savor, and what calls to you? What brings you into a deeper relationship with that radical present? So what brings us present? And then once we are present, what do we do with that gift? What do we do with that gift? And the other thing, to explore, that I've been exploring myself, I'm offering here to you to think about, is how does presence and this constant return that we do as meditators, right? Because we're going away from the present, we're being fully engaged in distraction, fully engaged in the thinking mind, and fully engaged in whatever in the past. Maybe we're writing our histories, fully engaged in the past, fully engaged in the future, um, ruminating or dreaming about what will be and what will come, which can have its own excitement. And it's not like these things are a problem, not really, but we keep returning, right? Keep coming home to the present. And what does that homecoming do for us? And so the question that I've been working with lately is, how does presence heal, because for me, it has been such a great healer, the present, coming present again and again. It's been a healer of trauma. We all have, everyone has a history of trauma, it turns out, according to the current understanding of trauma in the psych world. It's not like just some of us have experiences of trauma, but we all experience what Mark Epstein calls everyday traumas. Our nervous system gets keyed up and stimulated, and sometimes we afflict ourselves. Not only does the outer world afflict us, for example, can be something as, we get in a small car accident or something. That's a trauma. That's an everyday trauma. Someone hits us from behind, our whole body goes into fight or flight. Every time that happens, we're having a trauma response. It's a mini trauma response. And that registers in the nervous system, makes us more vigilant, right? So trauma is not something exotic that a few people experience. It's something that we all experience, and we experience on a fairly regular basis. So, but there's something about coming present, radically present in a way that's very intentional, very contemplative, um, in which we're developing a safe space in the present moment that really is healing. It's a place where we begin to recognize that the trauma we had is in the past, and the past is in the past, and I'm here now. I'm not there then. I'm here now. So as we begin to come present more radically, we teach ourselves that we are here now and not there then, and that we can let go of what was there then. We can unburden from the past, and presence helps us unburden. And presence also helps us with letting go of our hypervigilance about what might happen. That part of us that is playing out the worst case scenarios or anticipating um, traumas that haven't come yet, but that will. As we become present more, we begin to see, oh, future also hasn't yet come. I am here now. There is a refuge in presence and a safety in presence that we're developing in meditation, a teaching our nervous system that it is safe to be here now, and that we can be stable here now. And that is a deep reconfiguration of our nervous system that allows us to come home to now and feel safe in now. And that may be not something that we're used to, right? So, how does presence heal? How do you come present? And then how does presence heal? So these are some questions I want to sort of seed right now, and then also to encourage you to take those with you from the teaching as something you could explore in your own practice and begin to notice in your own practice. I think that where there's a lot of restlessness, in this body mind restlessness in our nervous system, and that what we're doing gradually in practice is letting that restlessness settle so we can come present and find safety in presence. And what does that look like for you? So I see that question, and I want to open it to you to hear from you on that. And maybe we can start with that. maybe start with what brings you present. And it's, it's interesting. Of course, there's practice, there's meditation, but there's also many other things that bring us present and therefore bring us into the mind state of radical presence that aren't necessarily meditation, at least not in a formal way, but kind of in an informal way, bringing us into that same space. So I wonder what brings you present. And um, maybe I'll start with, just before I take you can start raising your hands if you have a response to that. But what I want to say to kind of stimulate the conversation is that I've been discovering in the last few years, last 2 to 3 years, that what really brings me present is novel experiences, especially in the natural world, novel encounters. So, what I mean by a novel encounter is, or a novel experience, is encountering something in the natural world that you've never seen before. Or it could even be um, the way the weather changes in the natural world, and a sunset is new every time you see it. So experiences that are fresh, and seeking those out has been a practice for me in the last couple of years. I happen now at this moment to be in Alaska, in Homer, in Alaska, and I'm having a lot of novel experiences because I've never been to Alaska. So went on a hike yesterday up to a ridge, and I had never seen many of the flowers, the wildflowers that we were seeing up there as we went up into the alpine meadows. And I spent a lot of time just communing with these flowers because they were totally new to me. And it stimulates in me that kind of encounter, this freshness that is very much like the freshness I experience in meditation. So I'm wondering what brings you present. So novel experiences, that's one I'm going to offer into the field. And let's see if Laura can help me. Anyone would like to share what brings you present?
Yeah, raise your virtual hand, or if you can. If you can't and you raise your actual hand, I'll call on you. Suze, do you want to unmute?
Hi, Lama.
Hi,
Hello.
Suzanne, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to
Um,
see you too.
I was thinking very much what you just talked about, but instead of novel, I was thinking the element of surprise, especially in the natural world, like coming over a hill and seeing a whole field of sunflowers and being totally present with that. Or a surprise party that you really weren't expecting, and you're the birthday girl, and everyone's yelling surprise. Things like that. They may be very momentary, but yet sometimes even more like l- when you're flying in an airplane and suddenly you're surrounded by clouds, and it's just so amazing. Or coming into LAX at night and you see miles and miles and miles of lights. It's just, you can't be anywhere else in your head except right there,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So it's just that surprise.
mm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Surprise. Love it. Thank you.
Oops.
I see Tainter.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Tainter.
Hi, Lama Willa. So good to see you and everybody. Um, yeah, I think of it this I love this talk and what you're asking us to think about. And I too find that nature is the place for me. Here where I live, there are cyclical events. I'm in New England, and there's a season for the chimney swifts, and I this year I happened to be on my deck, and I have a very big sky feeling where I live, so I'm always talking to the birds, and the birds are talking to me, and I'm listening, and the chimney, I was able to see the chimney swifts return to town. And they came in low, and it was like they were just saying, "Yeah, this is the place. We're back." And every night since, they're busy, catching their dinner. Actually, it's all day. They're clicking away, and and then so I had an evening where I was sitting outside. I've had a couple, and all I've done is just paid attention to what they're doing, and that has been amazing.
Mm.
Yeah. And so it's like a hello to me. It's like a hello to something that keeps me in the present. The moon does that as well. The sunset.
Mm. The animals are such amazing teachers of presence too, right? What I felt when you were talking, Tainter, is just your sense of wonder and how wonder brings us present, just like the sort of awe,
Yeah.
awe, and how the natural world can stimulate awe, and animals stimulate awe, and but also how the animals are radically present,
Right.
like,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And more so than we are, because of our
Truly.
developed
Truly.
prefrontal cortex that is just chattering away about past and future. And animals are so tuned in to the now, right? So they're great teachers
They
for
are.
us. Yeah.
I have to just say, watching the young ones, so they're the young swifts who have just launched, is phenomenal because they'll fly in formation and then split off like with such precision that it's just the most mind-blowing thing to watch.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like it
Yeah.
is a complete miracle. It is almost, yeah, so mysterious. I mean, how instinct works, right? You're just
Right.
like, wow.
Very
Yeah,
sweet.
wow. Renee, I-
Oh, Renee, do you want to? Oh, Renee, you're muted still. Yeah.
Well, that's just a wake up for me. I had no idea we had chimney swifts in the Boston area. So I'm going to try to see if I can find them. I had no idea. But for me, what brings it's beauty. And whether it's beauty of a flower this morning going out and watering my garden, or yeah, just beauty and the beauty of a bird song where taking a walk and out of nowhere I hear this beautiful, magnificent bird. So uh, beauty is very important for me and comes in all sorts of forms and ways. Uh, but that brings me deeper into myself,
mm,
out of my head and into my heart space.
beauty. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm, the power of beauty, the power of the aesthetic
Hmm.
to bring us into the present moment and to bring us radically now, because where else would we want to be when
Right.
it's in front of us? And that also, I just want to point out that there's something about pleasure in that too,
Mm-hmm.
that pleasure brings us into the present moment because we don't want to be elsewhere. We're just like, oh, this is a beautiful thing. But but also, I think part of our practice too is to see the power of pain and suffering too, to bring us
Mhm.
present. So
Mm.
it's true that in the happier, when we're more exposed to the pleasure, to the beauty, we're more engaged, and when we're more exposed to the suffering and the pain, we're more in this mode of escape. We want to get out of the present. And
Mhm.
so how do we work with that practice? Explore the um, the nuances and the textures of suffering as not something to abandon, not something to leave, but as a reason to be here and as a reason to metabolize what's there, right?
Mhm.
And in a way, what we're doing there is we're realizing that we can stay in the pain and let go of the suffering, to stay in the
Mhm.
pain and let go of that second layer of resistance that we put on top of it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Anita.
thank you.
Hi. Yes, I've been taking my dog to this park at the bottom of a mountain where I live lately because she's getting older. It's easier for her to walk there. And it's summer, and there's a baseball field at the bottom of the park. So it's on a hill, and every night there's like another baseball game going on. And and this one night there were also these four children like playing outside of the field just with each other, just kind of uh goofing around, and I don't know exactly what all they were doing, but they were like running and just playing with each other, and and it was this odd feeling of it's almost like I felt like I was back in my own childhood, like the sounds of the game and the sounds of the children playing and the warmth and the humidity of the air, and then this a whippoorwill started going, and I think it was like maybe a novel assemblage of things I had experienced before, but not something that I experience every day now. So it was just this like beautiful awareness of like people being in community together and enjoying playing this game that has, been around for hundreds of years, and this country, and just kids playing outside with each other and making up their own games instead of, being attached to their phones, and like people in community and people in nature, and then nature also there at my back. And it was just delicious. I really did feel like, oh, this is like what it felt like to be a kid. And
Mm,
sometimes, we are
mm,
so our traumatic memories sometimes are so vivid that they kind of can come up to the surface
mm,
easily. But
mm,
this was like just this reminder of kind of like the water that I was swimming in, kids
mm.
playing at the park and being outside, and just that there
Yeah.
was like a whole basis of good things that were
Mm,
in community and cooperation, and there was this whole uh sea of connection that was like supporting me, but like kind of
mm,
you tend to remember it's like, oh yeah, that thing happened, and that's what we latch onto. So that really brought me into the present, and it's like a memory of the past brought me into the present.
yeah.
And then I was just thinking
Mm,
about how also how like sometimes our stories, like I had a good conversation with my sister the other day, and I was like, it felt
mm,
in the present, it felt like very good. And then as soon as I got off the phone, I was like, yeah, but she did all those really shitty things, and it's really so hard for me to forgive her. And so it's that, you know, how our stories kind of pull us into the
yeah.
past. And it's a little bit confusing because on the one hand, it's like the stuff did
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're trying
Mm-hmm.
to like not solidify it, but you
Right.
don't want to like forget about it either. It's just
Hmm.
sometimes it's complicated.
It's
That part's a
complicated.
little
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in reality, like on this longer sense of a spiritual path, we're alternating between processing, working with, and honoring the history, the stories, the parts of ourselves that need to be acknowledged, and working on the storied parts of who we are, and then alternating that with the radical presence practice, with
Mm,
this with a relationship to something more timeless,
hmm
a relationship to the wakeful awareness that is beyond those
hmm
stories and time. But we do have to do both. There is
mm,
this alternation, and there is this need, not to erase. We don't want to
hmm
erase that
hmm
narrative past, for so many reasons,
Yeah.
including what you mentioned, remembering what it was like to be a child. Children are such teachers of
Mm,
how to be
hmm
and how to inhabit the now, right? And but also, but I think what happens, in a life in which we don't practice at all, or don't make space for practice, is the only place we live is the narrative, and the
mm,
only place we live is the stories, and the stories that we tell ourselves, and that's the only place we live, and we don't have that refuge in the timeless, in the practice. It's a less stable life to live on the roller coaster of that conceptual mind, right? So,
mm.
but I think there is something to be said. I do think very much so. Oh my goodness, right? This honoring of who we are in the narrative sense too is feels important. And yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
whether the other person acknowledges it or honors it or not,
Mm.
like that you can
Right.
have
Mm.
your reality, and just because the other person is not agreeing with you on what the reality is, it's like that doesn't mean that it's not your own experience. And you don't have to bring the other person along with your story.
No, no. We can work with it on our own. Right.
Yeah. Thank you. That's very
Yeah.
helpful. I
Not
appreciate that.
everybody's stories agree with each other, do they?
Oh, usually they don't, right? Yeah, thank you.
Carolyn.
Hello. Um, I love this topic. Thank you. Much needed today. And that last interchange stirred up a lot. Uh, yeah, don't have anything to say about it yet, but I totally relate to the novel experiences in nature. Like, that's my favorite place to be. Um, and at the same time, what I want to share is an experience or experiences I have walking my dog on the same path every day in the woods. And I because it does get like old in my head somehow, even though it's new all the time. So I notice like what brings me present most there are my senses. It's like a breeze coming up, or the sound of the wind coming through, or um, a smell, something I hear, or a surprise, I guess, which I think someone already said, like a owl flying away or a heron or something. So I wanted to add that. And another piece is I went camping recently on the coast on the Pacific Northwest and was able to, like really get in rhythm with the pace of nature, like up for every sunrise, watching every sunset. And I miss that so much back here. And there's some practical things, like I really need to figure out where I can see the sunrise and sunset because I live in the woods and it's hard and I miss
Mm,
it. I miss that
mm.
sky. But there's something about slowing down that really brings those moments of presence for me too.
I really appreciate that, bringing that into the field, Carolyn, that how slowing down brings us present, because that is such a piece of why we meditate, why we practice, is when you slow down, you can really explore what is happening now, and really, really land. We could say land in presence. Surprise. So I'm just going to sort of recap a little bit here what I'm hearing from all of you. Surprise and slowing down, relationship with nature and the natural world, relationship with the senses, all these ways we come present, relationship with animals and with people, with children, came up. Just all these ways that we come present, and how all of those can be portals into this way of being that we call meditation. And you can expand your practice that way from something that is just sitting on the cushion and watching your breath, which is a wonderful way to come present, very embodied, very powerful, very reliable, much about the senses, the sensations of the breath that we're exploring, that we can augment that with seeking out contact with animals and with children and with the natural world, and with surprise and with new experiences, that these can become part of our practice of meditation. And it's really so much about the quality of being, more than a doing, um, and so, yeah, so just an encouragement to keep exploring this practice of presence. And the world really needs it now, especially we are on this fast-paced wheel of technology that is encouraging us going away from embodiment, slowing down, presence. And so to make room for that in your life is a radical act of resistance, in a way, to the status quo. And it is harder now, I think, because of our relationship to technology, which is a relationship also to distraction. It's a harnessing, a pulling away of our attention. And in all of these practices of presence, what is this one constant? It is attention. Attention or mindfulness is a quality that brings us into relationship with the radical presence, the ability to harness and to sustain our attention. And so that too, another ingredient to this practice of radical presence that we're doing as meditators. So it's been really great to be with you all. So fun to see you. So it really warms my heart to bring you into my home, into my place of residence today, and feel your presence lighting up mine. And maybe I want to add now that what brings us into radical presence is also relationship. Relationship keeps us present, and I'm feeling that very much today when when I'm in the space of the heart. I want to be present. It's like this draw into radical presence. So thank you all, everyone, for showing up. So good to see your faces. Oh, many of you so familiar, and some of you brand new. So those of you who are new to Dharma Sunday, welcome. And those of you who have been here a long time, so happy to see you. And let's bring up we can bring up our dedication. And dedication is a beingness way of paying forward our practice for the benefit of the world, and especially those who are suffering and in need of our prayers and support, calling them to mind and paying forward for their benefit. All beings. Changshu Samcho Rinpoche Mache Panam Shejo Che Panyam Pame Payam Ong Ne Gong Du Kawan. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good rest of your week next week, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.